Hello. What is up, everybody? Welcome to an episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast that is officially 2 years old. Now, I have to be honest, on the actual second year anniversary, like to the day, 2 years, I didn't think about it once. I did not really realize the day. I'd had it in my mind that it was going to be the 2 year anniversary of the Nobody Asked for This podcast on Sunday, a couple days previous. And then I completely forgot. And I actually am proud of that because I feel like the only thing sadder than not celebrating the 2 year anniversary of your podcast that no one listens to is celebrating the 2 year anniversary of your podcast that minimal people listen to. So, yeah, I feel like that means that I'm investing, not all, a good amount of time of this of my time into this hobby, but I'm not like getting the 2 year, 2 balloons and, doing an Instagram post. Maybe that's in my future one day. That would be fun. We'll maybe make that a goal for the 5 year anniversary of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. But we shall see. We shall see. I also blame leap year for so much, but more specifically, I blame the leap year for truly throwing me for a curve. Sorry, there's a garbage truck. Yeah, we're going to let that pass. For really throwing me off because, normally in a normal year, if something was on a Thursday one year, it's going to be on a Friday the next year, and the following year it's going to be on a Saturday. So I was geared up, ready to go, stretched, all of that, drank my water, ready to celebrate the 2 year anniversary of the Nobody Asked for This podcast on a Saturday because year one was Thursday, or first episode was a Thursday, year one anniversary was a Friday, and now you're telling me the second year anniversary is on a Sunday? That doesn't sound right. That, in my plans, was going to be the 3 year anniversary of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. You know what I mean? So just the whole thing is thrown off. I really do feel bad for people who missed like a weekend day for their birthday. Like maybe your birthday was on a Friday last year, so you were like ready for it to be on a Saturday, but now it's on a Sunday. So it's like you've really lost out. You've missed out, and there's nothing we can do. There's no one we can complain to. It just is what it is. Anyways, I'm coming to you, obviously, from the car. I think this is going to be a sort of like a two-parter. I'm planning to do... I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I normally record these on Wednesdays. It's fully Tuesday, and it's like Tuesday in the AM, which is unheard of for me. So much unheard of stuff is happening. Unheard of for me to record any more in advance than 12 hours before I post this. So I'm really feeling productive. I'm really feeling like I am kind of on top of things. And I got rewarded with a better parking spot than I've really ever had ever. Long story short, I have a daily parking struggle in multiple locations. It's not just work. It's not just home. It's in multiple locations, truly. And I was blessed with a prime parking spot. To the point where I'm almost feeling like guilty that I took it. Like I almost just kind of let it go because it was too good to be true. And I will talk that over in therapy one day. But that's my life. I hope everyone had a great week. I'm just going to do quickly like my weekly complaining of the weather. It's been 17 different seasons in the past 3 days. Sometimes in 1 hour it'll go from pouring rain to beaming sun. I was trying to think what the adjective would be to, like, the adjective that ends in ing would be that you put in front of sun. I think beaming is an appropriate one. It goes pouring rain to beaming sun. And I'm sick of it. I'm mad. You can probably hear it in my tone. I'm trying to sound grateful, but I'm mad. And I hate that the weather is making me complain while I'm literally sitting in a coordinate that is nothing but blessing, given that I got this amazing parking spot. So I hate to bring negativity to this space, and from now on, I'm going to be positive in thanks. But yeah, it's awful. The weather's terrible. But I also don't mind it. And I can't really explain that dichotomy. I think I like the ever-changing nature of, like, it keeps you on your toes. It doesn't get boring. And I don't know if this is just a my area thing, if this is like a global thing. Like, is it a climate change related issue? Like, I don't know. And I don't know who does. Maybe we have to ask Greta, but there's nothing to do except sip water from my Awala. So that's what I'm going to do. Quick update on the water bottle. As I shared a few weeks ago, I got a Awala water bottle, and I haven't stopped going to the bathroom since. Now, that was my fear in getting this water bottle. So I was going back and forth, like, do I get it? Do I not? Because obviously, like, yes, could I have gone to the dollar store and got a $5 thing of water, a $5 water bottle? Which, like, don't even get me started on the dollar store. Like, it literally is called a dollar store, and you can't get anything for less than $2. But whatever, not important. What is important is that I have a very fancy water bottle now, which I was lucky enough, again, look how lucky I am. I was lucky enough to get it gifted to me, so I didn't have to make the decision of whether or not I was going to buy it. And one of the cons of getting this water bottle in my head before it was bestowed upon me was, do I really want to spend 70% of my time in a bathroom? And, normally I was doing about 50% of my time in the washroom. Whether it was active or not, like, I just sort of like the space and time to kind of just sit and think. I actually think we should be incorporating more funtertainment in washrooms, like maybe get like a TV. I was at a fancy restaurant the other day, and by fancy I mean like one step above Olive Garden type fancy. And there was like TVs in there, and I thought, this is the life. There's a TV, there's like a couch. I think that should be more standardized where possible. Like, I don't know that we need that at 7-Eleven, but like maybe at like a fast food place we might like start there. But yeah, I've been spending about 75% of my time in the washroom now. So it was above average estimate of the percentage of time spent there. I actually read something funny, and it was like, you spend what percent, I'm Googling it, what percent of your life do you spend on the toilet? 92 days of their lives on the toilet. Honestly, I feel like I've already reached that. And, I mean, knock on wood. This is not wood. Does this count? Knock on wood. We're nowhere near the end, but I feel like I've reached that capacity. Yeah. Forgive me if I sound distracted. I sampled a tortellini salad from Costco the other day, and I've kind of been thinking about it every minute since. And I actually am trying to scheme my way back to a Costco in which I can procure said tortellini salad. I'd never really had a cold... I love pasta salad, but it's not something I eat often, because it really is something that, like, it's more like at a party, or like I don't even think like many restaurants have pasta salads. That might be wildly inaccurate, I don't know. But I just feel like it's something that is not very common to make. I feel like if you're going to make... because it's not like fully dinner to me, in my head. It is more of a lunch thing, and I just feel like it's a pretty extravagant thing to make yourself for lunch. I think if you're going to have any type of salad, it's just going to be the lettuce kind. So I don't really know what to do with that information, but I just... the tortellini pasta salad, if I can recommend anything from Costco, and I feel comfortable talking about it on this forum, because if I had more listeners, I would be scared that it would like go viral and then sell out, and then how am I supposed to get my tortellini salad? And I don't know if that's an angle that the influencers think about. Like, if you talk about something you like, it's going to sell out, and then it's only going to be harder for you to get it. But luckily, if you have like 7.5 listeners on a good day, you're fine. So tortellini salad, it has tortellini. There is like some salami in it, so if you are vegetarian, just pick it out. Like, it's not like so pervasive. Like, you can just take the salami out. I believe it's a cheese tortellini. There's like a probably like an Italian dressing, some probably like a pepper, which I don't love. I don't love cooked peppers. I don't mind peppers all the time. There was some olives. Did I say mozzarella? It was really good. So if I could recommend anything to anybody, it would be that. I also want to recommend, now this sounds like it's for kids, but that's kind of how I eat anyway. Mott's, do you know Mott's applesauce? They have it's like a baked, like some sort of like not a granola bar, but like a soft bar that is so good, and it's made with applesauce, of course, because it's Mott's. They have like 4 different flavors. I liked all of them, and I highly recommend you get there and try it. It's not dry. It's like soft, probably wildly unhealthy, but we don't have to look at that. And it's Mott's, so it's fruit, because apples is fruit, I'm pretty sure. I say this all the time, but the day I learned that eating too much fruit is bad for you because it's too much sugar is the day I stopped trying. Because when I was younger, it was always like, oh, you want dessert? Have some fruit. You want dessert? Have some fruit salad, which is kind of confusing to me because fruit salad usually doesn't have dressing, so it's like not salad, it's just a medley of fruit. And then I started eating a lot of fruit and realized like, hey, this stuff is pretty good. And then everyone started saying, oh, you're eating a lot of fruit. That's like so unhealthy for you. And I was like, well, what do you want from me? Truly, what do you want from me? And the answer is nothing much. I think people just like to, impart their own wisdom. But anyway, there's another big truck coming, if you can hear that. Do you hear the beeping when they reverse? Anyway, speaking of applesauce, because my new obsession is, along with the tortellini salad, the Mott's applesauce bars. Anytime I see the word applause, which has randomly been a lot the last week, I read applesauce. I don't know what that means. I do have to, in fact, go to the eye doctor. I have to make that appointment really soon. Something about me that I don't know if I've shared before is if I have to make a phone call that's not like you have a deadline, like that there's no, it's kind of like a self-imposed deadline, I'll literally wait 4 months. I will think every day for 4 months, I have to call the dentist, and then not do it until the very last second. Until like my teeth are falling out, I'll be silenced. And I don't know why that is, but again, just being honest. But for whatever reason, I'm having trouble with applesauce versus applause, because I just want more of those applesauce bars. Like if I had to pick like my last supper now, it would be a bucket of the tortellini salad followed by a dessert of the Mott's applesauce bars. And I think that's beautiful. In the spirit of fairness and honesty, now I did warn you that this was going to be the case, but it is over 24 hours past that last recording. That noise you heard, I'm in the car still, same car, same time, same place. My phone stand, I think, melted off of my, what is that called? My windshield? Yeah, that's the word for it. Let me just put it back on. But I don't know what I was talking about. In order to prep for the second half of this episode, I did listen to the first half. And by listen, I mean I just kind of listened to the last 2 seconds. So I said something was beautiful. I don't exactly know what to make of that. I don't know what I was referring. But that's fine. Listen, it is what it is. It's dark times. I am sitting in the car. It's very hot. My car says it's 30 degrees, which I don't know if that's, to translate, that's about 30, 60. It's like around 80 degrees Fahrenheit for the Fahrenheit people. No, maybe 90. Yeah, it's about 90. So hot. But I actually don't think that's the temperature outside. I think that's the temperature in the hot car. I'm slowly starting to realize that the water bottles I bought the other day are fully melted. And I think that is my punishment from Greta for buying plastic water bottles. In my defense, it was like a flavored water that I wanted to try. There was not an option to get it non-plastic. But I don't think it's probably very smart for me to drink that. So I'm really down. I think I was trying to be gracious in the first half of this last episode because I had finally gotten like a good parking spot. I was feeling good. Times were right. So I'm really sad to have to report in such a different mood. But I think it'll really kind of balance out the tone of the episode of the Nobody Asked This podcast. So that's been my life. What have I done since I last recorded? I've sat in traffic for probably 6.5 hours. More like 2 hours-ish, a cumulative total. That's my new favorite word, is cumulative. I don't know. I just think it's fun. I just learned just minutes ago that we were coming up on the summer solstice. My history with the summer solstice is limited because I feel like I've heard the term. I understand that it's a thing. I never really quite understood what it meant. Now I have since learned that it is essentially the opposite of the winter solstice, which I am more familiar of because it's the shortest day of the year. I have a very specific story to tell when it comes to the December solstice, shortest day of the year, because when I was in elementary school, I remember people saying, it was probably like my teacher or something, I think I was like kindergarten, grade 1, so like around 6 years old. And I remember learning that it was the shortest day of the year. And I went to school that day thrilled because I was like, oh my gosh, early dismissal, like it's the shortest day of the year, like can't wait. We're going to go in, we're going to put our backpacks down, we're going to eat our recess snack, we're going to do some finger painting, and it's going to be over with. That was not the case for me. Come to find out, the length of the day actually doesn't change at all. It is the light that changes. It's light for the least amount of time that day than it is any other day of the year. And I just feel like that is not properly specified. Not to be annoying or like hold people to their literal definition of their words, but like, especially as someone who I kind of need a lot of words to be able to convey myself. See, I did it right there. I'm not speaking English, but you know what I mean. I just didn't get it. So really, we should be rebranding it as not the shortest and longest day of the year, but being more literal and saying least light and most light. Just saying. Again, I don't have to make all the rules, but I do sort of question. I'll be so honest with you, I'm in this sort of waiting game of, do I wait out the traffic or do I just head into the traffic? I think I'm going to wait. Yikes. There's nothing like Googling your route home and Apple is telling you it's dark red. I have a very dysfunctional relationship with Apple Maps because I know for a fact it's wrong. I know for a fact it lies to me. It'll tell me it'll take an hour to get somewhere and it'll literally take me double the time. It'll tell me to take one route and that route actually has more traffic than the route that doesn't. And maybe part of that is, what I've wondered is like, if we all look at the same map and it tells us to go one direction, isn't it sending a lot of people in one direction, which would cause an influx of traffic? Have we thought about that? Shouldn't we be like staggering? Like, okay, let's send 90,000 phones or whatever to route A and then the other 90,000 phones to route B so that all the people don't go to route A. So really, I think I'm just going to start, because it has been working out for me to listen to what it's telling me to do. I'm just going to start doing the backwards. I'm going to start doing the opposite. If it tells me to go left, I'm going to turn right, and I'm going to see where that gets me. All of that to say, I think my waiting game is working, because the traffic times from 10 minutes ago are less than the traffic times now by 3 minutes. Now there's a 7-minute gap that's not being accounted for, but I think that's fine. So if the summer solstice is tomorrow, or I guess today when you're listening to this, does that mean that it's summer? Like, the summer solstice can't happen in fall or in spring. What day does summer start? Let's see. Tomorrow. Oh my gosh, it's the last day of spring. We sprang. I have to say, I don't love spring. Doing a recap on this spring in particular, I don't know that anything charming happened. I don't know that it was a particularly memorable spring for the most part. And I say that as someone sitting here who I can't remember literally one day of the spring. I can barely remember yesterday. So yeah, spring 2024, not bad, not great, is what I'm going to leave it at. Sometimes I need some distance from a period of time to know like really how I feel, but I'm in between. Spring, you're on the chopping block. We'll see how it goes. I have to be honest. I have entered a surprising third half of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I have officially made it through the traffic that I was trying to avoid. It wasn't so brutal. Sometimes I lose track of time. Do you ever do that when you're driving? Like you kind of like space out and then you kind of reach your destination and you're like, oh, like what happened? Did stuff go awry? I don't think so. So I don't have so many, much like spring 2024, I don't have so many memories of the past little bit, but I think we're fine. I completed a parallel park. For some reason, I was such a better parallel parker at 17 years old as I am now. I don't know what happened. I also avoided like the plague, but like when I learned it, like I was able to do it. I felt confident. Now, like I can't parallel park to save my life, and I don't know why. Like, I mean, I just did it now, so not to brag. So maybe we've turned a corner, but for some reason, it's just like I always feel like I'm so much further from the curb than I am. So I like readjust for 20 minutes when it's not necessary, and then other times I'll be like fully crooked and have no like I'm not able to feel that. Like I actually should get my compass out, get my compass app. The iPhone really. Like, they really supply you with the tools that you need, but then also never use. Like, there's a compass built into your phone. When am I ever going to use that? There is the stocks app. Still don't fully understand what that is. I'm starting to understand, obviously, as I get older and start paying for more things. Like, I'm starting to understand that whatever's happening in the stocks app is nothing that I want a part of because everything is so expensive. So, now maybe the key to all of our success is for me to understand the stocks app, and then maybe there is a way that I can fix it or stop it or help in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know. I just feel like any situation where like we're riding on me to do a very specific thing, it doesn't always end up well. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my darndest. That's my favorite word that's fake. My darndest. Do you know what I was thinking earlier? Is this a lot? I feel like I've started 48 topics and finished none of them, but it is what it is. What I was thinking earlier is I've chronicled this on the podcast before, but English is such an interesting language. Now, it's the only language I know, so maybe all languages are interesting languages. I just don't know them well enough to be able to comment on the interestingness of them. But what I find so funny about English is that there are certain words that they're just like Latin or it's like French. Like specifically I'm speaking of the term in lieu, meaning like instead of. Like why is that? Like why have we allowed that to be used in the English language? Is that more of like is that considered English? Like when we do that, when we take like in lieu is really the only one I can think of. Like, we're essentially speaking a different language, but it's like, is that in the English dictionary? Let's Google it. Is in lieu in the English dictionary? Let's see. Nothing is coming up. Oh, I might not have service here. Okay. What does in lieu? You know what? I think it is. Borrowing from French. Yeah, that's right. The phrase in lieu is now English. See, that makes no sense to me. I am quite arguably like the king of nonsense and things not making sense, but like you can't just decide that another language is your language. Like you can't just do that. But they did. I would like to meet this Oxford. Oxford's bold. they're always like listing things or like, sorry, I did take a piece of gum if you can hear some chewing. They're always like deciding what things mean. Like who, is there a board who decides like what words mean? Like who translates the literal definition? I would love to meet the person whose idea the dictionary was, because it's kind of genius, but also like if you don't I'd imagine it takes like a few drafts before you've really finalized the dictionary. And then who decides what's in the dictionary? Like, is razzle dazzle in the dictionary? Because if in lieu, which is fully French, is allowed to be in the dictionary, then I feel like razzle dazzle should be. And then do the words have to go to like word court and like state their case? Like, are there people like fighting for razzle dazzle or kerfuffle to be in the dictionary? If there is a team of such people, please let me know. I would love to join. I think that, honestly, is where my skill set is. Like, absurd, but like sort of necessary. I think that is the field that I need to find myself in, because someone's got to do it, and I think I'm the person for the job. Like, I can't obviously be in charge of anything, life or death, anything important. I'm never going to be a doctor. And I wasn't even one of those kids that was like, I'm going to be a doctor when I grew up. Like, I knew the toolkit I was working with at 7 years old. I actually think in preschool, when you did like, your journal or whatever. Can you journal in preschool? I guess you can't write. But when we did like an activity of, what do you want to be when you grow up? I think I said like waterman. Like, I wanted to deliver water, which I don't even think is a career anymore. I mean, I guess someone must deliver it, but like by deliver water, I mean not like plastic bottles such as the one that I have and have to throw out now, but like those huge, the huge ones, those ones, I wanted to deliver those. And I think I probably thought that because when I was doing my like preschool homework or whatever, I looked over when I was asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Saw a water bottle, a water jug, and said, aye, Captain. And again, I knew from a young age, not the brightest crayon in the toolbox, which is the name of this episode. Let me just write that down. Not, because that's good. Not the bright. Let's see if I can spell it. Amazing. We're good. I feel like this is the probably the best place. I love ending with the title. Sometimes we start with the title, a concept. It's good to end with one. So thank you all for joining me. If you did. If you didn't, then I guess you're not hearing this, so I don't have to address you whatsoever. But I recommend you do. And if you are listening to this, I would say that if you want good karma, or just want to do me a favor, or are bored, or maybe you're doing like small talk or something and it's not going well, you could say the following words. You could say, hey, person I don't know very well, do you like to hear entertainment? This isn't really no offense to me. Like, this isn't really funny. It's more just like talking. So don't say that part, but say, hey, do you want to hear someone talk into their voice notes app? If so, go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com. On there, you can see all of the episodes of the Nobody Asked for This podcast, all 2 years worth, as well as links to their Instagram that they never post on, their TikTok that they posted on 3 times, as well as a Twitter that they never use. I think I even made a Facebook group for this. So this truly, again, don't say this part, but like just for the background, like there was a lot of effort put in 2 years ago that I was not necessarily bearing the fruits that I sow. What's the past tense of sowed? Sowed. So just tell them that, and hopefully that'll fill up a minute in your awkward dialogue. But if you listen to this, I really appreciate it. We're also available on YouTube, not visually because no one wants that, but auditorially. You can see the logo of the Nobody Asked for This podcast that I graphic designed, creative directed. I'm a creative director, if I didn't tell you. You can listen to that and hear my voice, or watch that and hear my voice. So I hope we're all good. I'll see you in summer. The next episode, I think I'll do Yeah, maybe this will be fun. I try not to get too, like, current, but maybe we could do, like, what we want to read this summer. We is me. It just sounds less sad if I say we. What we want to watch this summer. And then maybe at the end of the summer, we can go back and see how many of the things that I did. What I want to do this summer. I want to go to the beach. Did I go to the beach? I guess we'll find out in September with the pumpkin spice latte. Okay, see you then. Bye.